Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and once you learn them, you'll sound much more natural when you speak English. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. Thanks, you're awesome. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. So let's jump right in. Number 1, let's wrap this up. This is such a common expression that you'll hear in offices, meetings, and even casual conversations. When someone says, "Let's wrap this up," they mean, "Let's finish this," or "Let's bring this to an end." It's like when you wrap a gift, you're putting the final touches on it and completing it. I remember being in a long meeting at work last week. We had been talking for almost 2 hours, and everyone was getting tired. My boss looked at the clock and said, "Okay, everyone, let's wrap this up. We've covered everything we need to discuss today." It was such a relief. We were all ready to go home. For example, if you're having a long phone call with a friend and you need to go, you might say, "I really enjoyed talking to you, but let's wrap this up. I have dinner plans in 30 minutes. You might hear something like, "We've been studying for 3 hours. Let's wrap this up and take a break." Here's another one. "The party has been great, but it's getting late. Let's wrap this up before midnight." Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to end something politely? This expression is perfect for that. Let me know in the comments if you think you could use this one. Number 2, I don't want to be disturbed. This expression is really straightforward. When someone says, "I don't want to be disturbed," they're saying, "I don't want to be interrupted," or "Please leave me alone for now." The word wanna is just a casual way of saying want to. My little brother uses this expression all the time. Last weekend, he was playing his favorite video game and was really focused on winning. When my mom called him for lunch, he shouted from his room, "I don't want to be disturbed right now. I'm about to beat the final boss." Of course, my mom wasn't too happy about that response, but it's a perfect example of how people use this expression. For example, if you're studying for an important test and people keep coming into your room, you might put a sign on your door that says, "Studying for finals. I don't want to be disturbed." People often say, "I'm working on a really important project right now. I don't want to be disturbed unless it's an emergency." Let's take this one. "I'm taking a nap. I don't want to be disturbed for the next hour." This is such a useful expression when you need some quiet time. Do you think you could use this when you're busy or need to concentrate? Number 3, you go ahead. This is one of the most polite and common expressions in English. When you say, "you go ahead," you're telling someone to continue with what they were doing or to go first. It's a really nice way to be polite and let someone else take the lead. I use this expression almost every day. Just yesterday, I was walking into a coffee shop at the same time as an elderly woman. We both reached for the door handle at the same time, and I smiled and said, You go ahead. She thanked me and went in first. It's such a simple way to be courteous. For example, if you're in line at the grocery store and someone behind you only has one item while you have a full cart, you might say, "You go ahead. I have a lot of items." You might hear something like, "I'm still deciding what to order. You go ahead and order first." Here's another one. "I need to make a quick phone call. You go ahead and start the meeting without me." This expression shows good manners and consideration for others. Have you ever used something like this in your own language? It's one of those universal polite gestures. Number 4. This is the first I've heard of it. This expression means, "I'm learning about this for the first time right now," or "nobody told me about this before." It's what you say when someone gives you information that's completely new to you. I'll never forget when my friend Sarah told me she was moving to Japan. I was so surprised. I said, "What? You're moving to Japan? This is the first I've heard of it. When did you decide this?" She laughed and explained that she had been planning it for months but wanted to keep it a secret until everything was confirmed. For example, if your coworker mentions that the office is closing early tomorrow and you had no idea, you might say, "Really? This is the first I've heard of it. Did the boss send an email about it?" People often say, "There's a new restaurant opening downtown. This is the first I've heard of it. When does it open?" Imagine this. Your friend tells you about a surprise party for another friend, and you respond, "A surprise party for Maria? This is the first I've heard of it. What can I bring?" This expression is so natural and shows that you're genuinely surprised by new information. Do you have a similar expression in your language for when you learn something new? Number 5. I'm a little lightheaded. This expression describes a physical feeling. When you're lightheaded, you feel dizzy, weak, or like you might faint. It's that feeling when your head feels light and you're not quite steady on your feet. I remember a time when I was donating blood at the hospital. After they took the blood, I stood up too quickly and immediately felt dizzy. I had to sit back down and told the nurse, "I'm sorry, I'm a little lightheaded." She brought me some orange juice and crackers, and I felt much better after a few minutes. For example, if you haven't eaten anything all day and you start feeling weak, you might say, "I need to eat something. I'm a little lightheaded." You might hear something like, "I stood up too fast from the couch and now I'm a little lightheaded." Let's take this one. "The room is so hot and stuffy. I'm feeling a little lightheaded. Can we open a window?" This can happen for many reasons, like not eating enough, being too hot, or getting up too quickly. Have you ever felt lightheaded before? It's important to sit down and rest when this happens. Number 6. Party pooper. This is such a fun expression. A party pooper is someone who ruins the fun or doesn't want to participate in something enjoyable. It's usually said in a playful way, not to be mean, but to tease someone who's being too serious or negative. My dad is totally a party pooper sometimes, but we love him anyway. Last month, my family wanted to have a movie night and watch a comedy, but my dad kept saying, "This movie is so silly. Why don't we watch the news instead?" My mom laughed and said, "Oh, come on, don't be such a party pooper. Let's just have fun tonight." He ended up watching the movie with us and actually enjoyed it. For example, if your friends want to go dancing but you keep complaining about being tired, they might say, "Come on, don't be a party pooper. Let's go have some fun." People often say, "We're all going to karaoke after work. Don't be a party pooper, come with us." Here's another one. "Everyone wants to play board games, but Jake is being a party pooper and saying it's boring." It's a light-hearted way to encourage someone to join in the fun. Have you ever been called a party pooper, or have you called someone else one? Number 7, I got stung by a bee. This one is pretty literal. When you get stung by a bee, it means a bee has poked you with its stinger and it hurts. But people use this expression to talk about the experience, and it often leads to funny or dramatic stories. Last summer, I was having a picnic in the park with my friends. I was eating a sandwich when suddenly I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I jumped up and yelled, "Ouch! I got stung by a bee." My friends were so worried, but I was more surprised than hurt. The bee had been attracted to my sweet soda, and when I moved my arm, I accidentally bothered it. We had to find some ice to put on the sting. For example, if you're explaining why you're afraid of bees, you might say, "I got stung by a bee when I was little, and it really hurt. That's why I don't like them." You might hear something like, "I was gardening yesterday and got stung by a bee. My hand is still a little swollen." Imagine this. We had to leave the outdoor wedding early because the groom got stung by a bee and had an allergic reaction. Bee stings are pretty common, especially in summer. Have you ever been stung by a bee? It's not fun, but it's usually not too serious unless you're allergic. Number 8, lawyers are a dime a dozen. This is an interesting idiom. A dime a dozen means something is very common or easy to find. A dime is worth 10 cents, so if something costs only a dime for 12 items, it's very cheap and common. When someone says, "Lawyers are a dime a dozen," they mean there are lots and lots of lawyers everywhere. My uncle is a lawyer, and he always jokes about this expression. He says, "People always tell me that lawyers are a dime a dozen, but good lawyers are much harder to find." He's right, though. In my city, there are law offices on almost every street corner. You can't walk downtown without seeing at least 5 different law firms. For example, if someone is worried about finding a lawyer, you might say, "Don't worry about it. Lawyers are a dime a dozen in this city. You'll find one easily." People often say, "Coffee shops are a dime a dozen around here. There's one on every corner." Let's take this one. Job applicants are a dime a dozen, but finding qualified candidates is much harder. You can use this expression for anything that's very common. What's a dime a dozen in your city? Maybe restaurants or phone repair shops. Number 9, we're way over budget. This expression is about money and spending. Your budget is the amount of money you plan to spend on something. When you're over budget, you've spent more money than you planned. And way over means much more than you intended. I learned this expression the hard way when I was planning my birthday party last year. I had set aside $300 for food, decorations, and drinks. But by the time I bought everything I wanted, I had spent $500. I had to call my sister and say, "Help, I'm way over budget for this party. I spent too much money." She helped me return some things and find cheaper alternatives. For example, if you're renovating your kitchen and you plan to spend $5,000, but you've already spent $8,000, you might say, "We're way over budget on this kitchen project." You might hear something like, "The wedding is beautiful, but we're way over budget. We need to cut costs somewhere." Here's another one. "The movie production is way over budget. The director wants to add more special effects, but there's no money left." This happens to everyone sometimes. Have you ever been over budget on something? It's stressful, but there are always solutions. Number 10, to beat the heat. This expression means to find ways to stay cool when it's very hot outside. Beat in this context means to overcome or defeat, so you're defeating the hot weather by staying cool. Every summer, my family has different strategies to beat the heat. My mom likes to go to the mall because it has great air conditioning. My dad prefers to stay home and use our big fan while drinking ice water. I like to go to the community pool with my friends. Last week, when it was 95 degrees outside, my neighbor invited us over to use her pool. She said, "Come on over, we need to beat the heat somehow." For example, if it's a really hot day and you're planning activities, you might say, "Let's go to the beach to beat the heat. The water will cool us down." People often say, "I'm going to the movie theater to beat the heat. At least it's air-conditioned there." Imagine this: the ice cream shop is packed today. Everyone is trying to beat the heat with a cold treat. This expression is perfect for summer conversations. What do you do to beat the heat in your country? Do you have similar expressions about staying cool? Wow, we covered so much today. Let's quickly review these 10 fantastic expressions. We learned about wrapping things up, not wanting to be disturbed, being polite with "you go ahead," hearing something for the first time, feeling lightheaded, being a party pooper, getting stung by a bee, things being a dime a dozen, going over budget, and beating the heat. These expressions are so useful because native speakers use them all the time in everyday situations. The more you practice them, the more natural your English will sound. Try to use one or two of these in your conversations this week. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? And which one do you think you'll use first? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you and learning about how you're using these expressions in your own life. Don't forget to hit that like button if this video helped you, and please subscribe for more English learning content. Tomorrow, I'll be back with 10 more amazing idioms, phrases, and sentences that will make your English sound even more natural and fluent. Take care and keep practicing your English. You're doing great, and I'm so proud of your progress. See you tomorrow for another fun lesson. Bye for now.